Seems like Rahul Gandhi is at it once again, viewers, in his attempt to counter RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat's India got true independence only after Ram Mandir consecration remark. Leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, has been seen as taking an anti-India position. Rahul Gandhi said that his fight is against the BJP, the RSS and the Indian state. So when Rahul Gandhi says he's fighting the Indian state, what really is he fighting? The Indian state comprising of 28 states, 8 union territories, or the citizens living within the territory, or the institutions governing the state? Or is it the Indian government further bifurcated into the executive and the legislature? Let's break down his counter to understand better. Now, RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat had said that India's temples and religious structures were targeted by invaders in a bid to destroy India's pride, and responding to that, Rahul Gandhi says that we're now fighting the BJP, the RSS and the very Indian state itself. In response to Bhagwat's message of national resurgence, Rahul Gandhi said BJP and the RSS are together capturing every institution in the country. Furthermore, hitting back at Bhagwat's Ram temple marks India's real freedom comment, Rahul Gandhi attacked the centre, saying that those in power do not believe in the tricolour or the constitution. And urged by Mohan Bhagwat's message on spiritual awakening, Rahul Gandhi said that what Mohan Bhagwat has said amounts to treason, and that the RSS chief would have or should have been put behind bars. And the same would have happened if he were in fact in any other country. But this is not the first time, viewers, that Rahul Gandhi has toed an anti-India line, as is being spoken of or raked by the BJP. Berating India on foreign soil has been a recurrent for the Gandhi leader. From United States in September 2017, when Rahul Gandhi alleged that the idea of non-violence is under attack, to claiming that India is unable to deal with the crisis that the blue-collared is facing during an event in Malaysia. This was not too long ago, 2018. And alleging that the idea of plurality is being challenged in Singapore in March 2018, once again made against India itself. Or while addressing a convention of NRIs in Bahrain in 2018, once again, when Rahul Gandhi appealed to the NRIs there to protect the idea of India. Furthermore, in May 2022 in UK, Rahul Gandhi said that the soul of India is under attack from the BJP, and a soul without voice means nothing. And what has happened in India is that the voice has been crushed. And lastly, in 2022, in UK once again, where he's alleged that nation is a Western concept and India is not a country but a union of states, he repeated the same comment once again during his September 2023 visit to US. So is Rahul Gandhi really fighting the Indian state? Whose cause is he speaking for? We'll take up all of those questions in just a bit over the next few minutes. But first up, the reaction so far.
संपत राय जी कहते वो आंदोलन नहीं यज्ञ है, ये बात बिल्कुल सही। ये शुरू इसलिए नहीं हुआ था किसी का विरोध करना है।
The BJP and the RSS have captured every single institution of our country. We are now fighting the BJP, the RSS and the Indian state itself.
मैं मानता हूँ किसी की अज्ञानता की कोई उत्तर नहीं हो सकता।
It is our misfortune that we have a part-time and irresponsible, immature leader of opposition in Rahul Gandhi.
To neglect the fact that our sacrifice and the countrymen's sacrifice has gone to waste, I think that's unbecoming. So I think he made that very clear that the country stands united.
RSS के जो मोहन भागवत जी हैं, उन्होंने काफ़ी अपमानजनक शब्द का उन्होंने व्यवहार किया। भगवान राम का भी उन्होंने निरादर किया, और इसीलिए इस टिप्पणी की निंदा हम पूरी पार्टी और पूरे देश को करनी चाहिए।
Tom Varadkar, national spokesperson of the BJP, continues to stay on with us for the second debate as well. Joining him on the broadcast is Arshpreet Khadial, spokesperson of the Congress. A very good evening once again to both of you. Arshpreet, you know, this is new trouble, not just for Rahul Gandhi, but I believe the entire Congress party, very close to Delhi elections. Another political comment that's been made by him while he was taking pot shots at the BJP and the RSS. But why mention the Indian state?
Well, number one, we condemn what Mr. Mohan Bhagwat said. Number two, he ought to take his statement back, apologize for it, and he ought to be prosecuted. As far as the Bharatiya Janata Party's propaganda is concerned, when they have no answers to the questions, to the allegations, to the accusations, they always try to deflect, dodge, and divert. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. By twisting the statement of Mr. Gandhi meant the Bharatiya Janata Party's government. Number two, what we need to understand is that Mr. Mohan Bhagwat has undermined, has disregarded the sacrifices made by our freedom fighters, the lives that were laid down to get independence. He has mocked and humiliated all those freedom fighters who have done so much for our country, because of whom we are breathing today. And the Bharatiya Janata Party, instead of prosecuting him, taking an action against him, has rather tried to turn the table towards the Congress Party. I want to ask the Bharatiya Janata Party one thing. Mr. Mohan Bhagwat, back in the day, in September 12, 2017, had also said, amend the constitution, align it to the Indian value. Then, on January 1, 1993, the RSS published a white paper, denounced the constitution as anti-Hindu. And number three, Mr. Mohan Bhagwat had also spoken about reservation when he said he was given an interview to organizer and Panch Janaya. And he said reservation needs to be reviewed. I mean, time and again, such statements, such actions have been witnessed, and no action has been taken at all whatsoever. Which then,
Okay, you say Mohan Bhagwat ought to be prosecuted. What about Rahul Gandhi? And in which rule book? No, one second. In which rule book, Ashpreet is what I'm trying to ask. Does the Indian state amount to the government of the day?
Number one, answering your question.
It is an irresponsible comment.
I am sorry. What is irresponsible is saying that what we have is not real independence. I mean, was Mr.
No,
Bhagwat
I'll go to Mr. Vadakkan for that. But please answer my limited question, Ashpreet.
I'm answering your
No,
question.
I'll take your question, but you're not answering my question.
Allow me to, please. Allow me to, Ms. Palia. I'll answer your question. I told you the state is basically the government. That's what it is, and that's what he meant. Has been clarified.
Ashpreet, the Indian state is actually governed by the president of the country. If we actually go by facts.
No, 1 second. The executive head is the prime minister. It's not the president who's the executive head of the state. Let's understand that. Number two.
And the prime minister is the prime minister of the whole country, not of the BJP.
And one more thing. Of course he is. And you should also know that the president acts on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, which is of the Bharatiya Janata Party. And number two, the important part here is that the Bharatiya Janata Party has not even issued a clarification. They need to tell us, was Mr. Bhagwat trying to suggest that the Bharatiya Janata Party was ruling as a dictatorship? That the Bharatiya Janata Party was being Tanash and not democratic at all? Is that what he is trying to say? Because the Bharatiya Janata Party has been in power for the last 10 years, and this statement goes on to suggest that the Bharatiya Janata Party was not ruling as in independence, that the Bharatiya Janata Party was being dictatorial. And number two, the Bharatiya Janata Party needs to tell what their stand is on this. Will they stand by what Mr. Bhagwat said? Do they also believe that we did not get real independence in 1947 and the sacrifices and everything?
Okay. So you stand by what Rahul Gandhi said. You see no wrong in it. No red line clearly being drawn by the Congress Party. Mr. Vadakkan, questions being asked by Ashpreet. How do you respond?
Well, it's a very interesting argument that one hears from the Congress spokesperson. He says he meant that and not this. I mean, that clearly indicates that the world at large has understood what he has said. And the spokesmen refuse to believe what they hear. And they have that script from the Congress Party office, probably from their quarters right now, that, well, you go out there, defend, and what are they talking about? They are talking about treason. Please examine the Indian Penal Code or other issues. What are the implications of treason? Do you have any idea? And who is eligible to be called into a treasonable offense? Is there a man who signed an MOU with a particular country? Or is it somebody who goes and has conspiracy angles with Soros and company? Or is there a gentleman who goes and abuses our country abroad every time he visits any country? Is that treason, or what Bhagwatji said, which he said, true independence? Do you remember Tilakji when he went for the movement? It was the religious movement that started it off, that triggered it off. You talk about your fight for independence. But that real start was with Tilakji, and that was a religious formulation. There was a regeneration of a religious majority that came into play to understand what was happening in India. That is the historical reality. Bhagwat ji has talked about religion contributing to a majority community, yes, to realize that they have a freedom. They have a freedom to have a Sri Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. And that is nothing wrong about it. What did Gandhiji say? You have not achieved freedom till you have economic freedom. So these are different phases he says true freedom. And true freedom, what is reasonable about it? But the question is, who can be charged against sedition? The charge is very serious. And Mr. Rahul Gandhi as an LOP must stand up and get counted. And get counted on his behavior nationally and internationally. The Congress spokesman must come clean today and tell the world at large what are the connections, the family connection that is with Soros. And what is this whole thing about regime change? Why is there a representative from the Congress party going to Islam for help to change the government? I'm referring to Mani Shankara here. Why is there such permission given to Congress leaders? And why is this split language being used? That they are talking about treason? And it is unreasonable that these very people who conduct treason are, blaming others for treason. And this is something this country will not take.
Ashpreet, there's a larger problem here. Mr. Vadakkan, what happens is, in doing so, more often than not, you end up giving a handle to a nation like Pakistan because, Ashpreet, believe it or not, Rahul Gandhi has actually been cited by leaders in Pakistan in making a case over India as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. So that's what ends up happening. That is why it is concerning and problematic on so many levels.
Well, now that you talk of Pakistan, we all remember that our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, went to Pakistan to wish happy birthday to the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Nawaz Sharif. And he went there, had Kashmiri chai with him, had biryani with him.
So did the External Affairs Minister not too long ago, Ashpreet. There are official engagements that need to happen. I'm talking about things that you say that don't favor your nation, but favor a neighboring nation, which is being seen as an adversary.
Of course, I've understood your question. Now allow me to answer, please. You said official engagements are there. Wishing happy birthday to Pakistan's Prime Minister was not an official engagement. He allegedly went there unannounced, did something which was against the protocol, sat in his chopper, being the Prime Minister of India. And number two, we need to see one thing, that the BJP spokesperson has not answered a single question. Does he support the RSS white paper that was published in 1993, which denounced the constitution as anti-Hindu? And it did not just stop there. It further said, it outlined the kind of polity that they wanted to be established in the country. That said that the constitution is contrary to the country's culture, character, circumstances, situation, etc. It is foreign oriented.
Ashpreet, can I make a small appeal and really not try and take this debate back to what Mohan Bhagwat said? We've done that all day long yesterday. We've asked BJP the questions we had to. Whoever had to distance themselves from those remarks, they've done it. And I'm saying it in as many words that if Rahul Gandhi were to go against the RSS or the BJP, he should feel free to do so. But why talk about the Indian state and Congress's fight against the quote-unquote Indian state? That's my limited question. That's the only thing I'm asking. And
I'll answer your question. See, the unfortunate thing about the Bharatiya Janata Party is that they are trying to change the definition of democracy. In a democracy, the questions are asked to the government, not to the opposition. If they still want to be asking questions, they should resign from the government, come in the opposition, then ask us questions, because that's what you always do. Because Mr. Modi in the last 10 years has not held a single press conference. There are so many questions, thousands and lakhs of them, and there are no answers by the Bharatiya Janata Party government. And when questions are asked, they try to put it on us, on the opposition. Opposition does not have the responsibility to run the country. Opposition does not have the responsibility to look after 140 crore.
How is it any better, Ashpreet? I'll let Mr. Vadakkan respond. I'll not come in his way. But how is it any better to hold press conferences one after the other on foreign soil and ask whether or not a Sikh in India will be allowed to wear a turban? How is that any better?
well, it's still better than going to wish the happy birthday.
I
to
can't believe you just
Pakistan's
said that,
Prime
Ashpreet.
Minister.
No,
I
that's
think holding a press
absolutely
conference
unfair.
is
You're
still
speaking
better than
against the
Prime Minister
interests
going
of
to
Indians
Pakistan
abroad.
to wish birthday to the former Prime Minister. I think we need to have our priorities straight. Mr. Modi has the responsibility of a Prime Minister, and he mostly is a Prime campaigner, not a Prime Minister. And today, when he should have spoken against Mr. Mohan Bhagwat, he hasn't uttered a word. Mr. Amit Shah hasn't uttered a word. I want to ask what the stand of Mr. Modi is on this. Does he agree with what Mr. Mohan Bhagwat has said, or does he disagree with that? And if he does disagree with that, will he take any action? Will he be prosecuted? Because if it were a common man, by now he would have been behind bars. I'll give you an example of your colleagues. So many journalists have been put behind bars for very, very simple statements. They were not derogatory, they were not defamatory, they were not demeaning, they were nothing. Yet they were put behind bars, their channels were stopped, their channels were blacklisted and whatnot. I want to ask the Bharatiya Janata Party, are you above the law? The people associated with the Bharatiya Janata Party, are they above the law? Is there no equality?
Okay.
That
No, Ashpreet, when I ask you in what capacity
Rahul
Rahul Gandhi spoke of the Indian state and taking on the BJP and the
Answered
RSS,
that.
you're reverting back to what Mohan Bhagwat had said, how the
I've
BJP has
answered
been
that.
silent, so
I've
on and so
answered
forth.
that.
You've
It was
spoken of the
Bharatiya
Prime
Janata
Minister
Party.
and how he's not held a press conference, but you're not answering my pointed question clearly. But
I've
I'll let
answered
Mr.
that.
Vadakkan respond
Get the
because I don't
Bharatiya
have
Janata
too
Party
much time.
government.
Okay. Mr. Vadakkan.
I think our Prime Minister, Honorable Modi ji, has been talking to the press. Unlike what the Congress party's LOP has been doing, he's been having interviews across the board, top level editors who come to his house, and his interaction is well known. Now, as to the question of what Bhagwat ji said, I, as a Christian today, say that he said the right thing. Right to religion is a freedom. And every Hindu has a right to have a temple in Ayodhya. If he says that is freedom, I think I agree with him. And every soul in India will agree that religion is a right. If Rahul Gandhi has a woke culture to stand by, that he may have. But let me tell you very categorically, every Hindu, Christian has a right
But Mr.
to
Vadakkan, then the
worship.
Congress is going to say if Mohan Bhagwat is going to go by his own idea of when India attained freedom, then Rahul Gandhi is as free to interpret his own idea of what the Indian state is.
No, the issue here is Indian state. We are Indians, and if he's going to war with millions of Indians, the government apart is the Indian state he has talked about, and that there is evidence to it. MOU signed, Soros connection, the language is used abroad against the Indian state. Constitution has been murdered, or whatever he calls it, democracy has been murdered. These are issues that he has gone and spoken as NLOP. And then he sent a special messenger, Manishankar Iyer, how to dislodge a government. If this is not regime change, if this is not sabotaging the Indian government, if this is not a war against the Indian state, tell me what is, Christine.